Hello, everyone. It is Jo, and welcome to Lunch and Learn Live on this lovely Tuesday, October the 13th. The year marches on at ever quickening pace. Things are a crazy time of year, crazy year that is, flying forwards faster than ever before. Crazy. I am drinking an Earl Grey tea, and I've just had leftover risotto for lunch. How about you? What's for lunch? Or if you're in the States, what's for breakfast? Or if you're in Australia, what is your midnight snack? Because we're at that time of year actually where the clocks are changing, aren't we? The clocks are changing. We've got, I think we're heading towards being, is it 11 hours difference between Australia and the UK it will become again? So wherever we are, it's going to get further apart. As we finish daylight savings and Australia starts. But hello, if you're over on that side of the world, let me know where in the world you are, what's for lunch, or breakfast, or dinner, or whatever. I am looking forward to today's Lunch and Learn Live because we are going to talk about Just Ask Already. I've had a number of experiences just over this last week which have reminded me just how much we don't ask. We don't ask for help. We don't ask for what we need. We don't ask for anything. And I haven't even, it's just reminded me, because I've had quite an extraordinary and exceptional week in that area, that we don't ask enough because of what we tend to do as women in putting our needs last, or not wanting to bother, or not wanting to trouble each other. So I'm going to have a chat about that today. And if you know anybody who is terrible at asking, then you might like to share this with them. You might like to tag their name in the comments section, invite them along, because this is something that we can, all of us, relate to. I want to also kick us off with a big thank you to everybody who participated in our competition last week, our sharing competition. It was really, really super. We had so many entries. It was unbelievable, and so many beautiful women sharing the work. I know that you ladies love what it is we do here at One of Many, and I know that you would share it irrespective of whether there was competitions involved, and I know that you do share so much for us. So massive thank you to everybody who welcomed sisters and aunts and friends on Facebook into our community last week. And if you're new to the community, hello and welcome, and hope you're starting to find your way around and get to know us and who we are and how we roll. It's fabulous to have you. So I can see Simone there. Hello, good to see you. Jean is there, having a cheese and onion wrap. Oh, that sounds nice. Iona's there, currently making scrambled eggs. Carol says, I can't access this again. That's weird, because I can see you, Carol, so I'm not sure if you can't see me. That's strange. I can see Liz is there, having carrot cake and ginger tea. Yummy. Simone hasn't considered food for the day. Alison's having toasted cheese sandwiches in Aylesbury. Tracy's having salmon, eggs, hummus and baby bells. That's a random assortment. Salmon and eggs, I can get that. Salmon and hummus, I'm not so sure. Depends whether the salmon is smoked or not. And then throw in eggs and baby bells I can get. Wow, that's a really special mix there, Trace. Oh, Karen's not far from Milton Keynes. Hello, my darling. Yes, we're not far away. Good to see. Now Simone's saying I'm really hungry because we're all talking about food. And Beck's in Milton Keynes too. Yay, MK. How British am I? I know that MK is Milton Keynes. I just know it. I'm a proper Brit. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Good to see you all. So, let's talk. Let's talk about how rubbish we are at asking. I want you to think back over the last 24 hours, the last 48 hours, maybe even the last week, and ask yourself, how many times did you have a conversation with somebody where you weren't really clear about what you wanted. Where you might have hinted, you might have intimated, you might have rolled some eyes, you might have gone really loudly and hoped. You might have wanted to say no, but you said yes. But how many times in this last week have you not asked for what you know you needed? I want to get a sense of that. I want you to think about how many times you've needed help in the last week, but you didn't want to trouble anybody. You didn't want to ask for exactly the help you needed, whether that's from a boss or from a coworker or a friend, because you knew they were busy too, or they had priorities and things going on their plate. Who can relate to that? I want to hear in the comments section. I want to hear how many in the last week have had a time where you have not asked for what you need out of some sense of politeness or not wanting to burden or being cautious about your timing, or call it whatever you will, but you didn't ask for what you need. How many of you had something like that over this last week? Let's hear from you in that front. Come on, talk to me. Carol says, I've tried that, no joy. Oh, I think she's talking about refreshing so that she can see the thing. I'm not sure. Any of you? Well, I guess the reactions will come through in a little while, because I know that we're always a little bit behind with our reactions. I've got this rogue piece of hair keeps sticking out, haven't I? There we go. A few. Here we go. Yes, Caroline is saying me. Hooray. Good. At least Caroline. Iona says, yep, I'm very aware of the pressure that others are under as well. Petra, yep, can relate to that. Kathy, definitely. Good. I'm not alone, because it is something I have noticed a lot over the course of the last 6 months, especially, or since March. I have become less adept at asking, and I know how much I need to ask of people, but I've noticed I haven't wanted to burden, I haven't wanted to overburden people that are already burdened. And this has had several consequences. I have noticed that, like, for instance, one of the things I know is that my ability to survive, something I've become very, very clear of in recent weeks, my ability to survive motherhood and wifehood is directly related to my ability to get away from my family regularly. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely love them, but my system needs to, because I'm an empath, right? Because I am spending my whole life in other people's feelings, like just naturally my energy does that. I spend my whole life in how the kids are doing, or Greg's doing, or my team that I work with, how they're doing. However, like, that's where all of my energy spends. If I'm at a retreat, all of my energy is in how everybody on the retreat is doing. And for that reason, like, I'm always plugged into everybody else's stuff. In order to unplug, I need to go to places where I don't know people. And I need to do that regularly. And back before March, I was probably getting away to, to something, a meeting in London or whatever, every month or so. And it's just a day where I'm unplugged from other people. And if it's people I don't need to worry about, it's a totally different kettle of fish, right? So it's one of those, I've noticed, therefore, that I have needed, and I've been aware that I've needed it for some time, but have I actually asked? Have I actually been brave enough to go to my husband and say, do you know what? I need to go away from you and the kids, not because of work, not because I have anything to do, but because I need away time to switch off and to reset. I haven't done it. I haven't done it for a really long time. I hadn't said it. And I noticed about a week ago, I went a little bit crazy, had a big cry, and realized that's what I needed to do. And of course, as soon as I said it to him, he was absolutely fine. He had no qualms about it. He was, whatever you need, go do what you need, have a break, do whatever you need. It's not a problem. But because of all of the mummy guilt, and because of all of the lockdown guilt, and all of the extra additional insane amounts of guilt that we've managed to concoct ways of feeling guilty over the course of the past 6 months, I just hadn't asked the question. And so I was, surprised at how much grief I had that came out when we identified that that's what I needed. That's always shocking. And then second, at just how much of an easy yes it was for Greg to be supportive of what I needed so I could be a better mum and partner, right? I know, right? Beck says the guilt feels really, really huge, much more so over the past 6 months. I 100% agree, right? It's been really, really tough. So, and to be honest, Greg was tired and stressed and busy. I can see there that Karen's saying I needed some support from my husband, but I didn't want to open up the conversation when I knew he was stressed and busy as well. And that's what we do, right? We go, you're stressed and busy, I'm stressed and busy, so I'm not going to ask for what I need to be okay. That was one example. I then had a mastermind call. So I am still in a mastermind with a group of people that I met on Necker Island on my Courageous Conversations leadership gathering last year, which many of you have heard me talk about. It was a wonderful opportunity. I was invited by Virgin Unite to go out to Sir Richard Branson's private island in the British Virgin Islands and meet some extraordinary people, absolutely extraordinary people that I got to meet there. And some of them I continue to mastermind with to this day. And we had our call last Thursday. And on that call, there was just 3 of us actually on last week's call, and we were talking about, okay, a bit of an update, and I went first, and I was sharing how things were going, and we're tottering along amazingly, and online events happening well, and blah blah blah. And then I shared with them, a challenge, the key challenge we're trying to grow into as an organisation at the moment. And they both said, one of them said, well, I just delivered a presentation on that. I've got a presentation on that I'm going to be delivering, next week, which I wanted to show Adam anyway. So why don't I teach it to you? Why don't I show you all about that stuff? And there was a big part of me that just wanted to go, no, because if you spend an hour teaching me all of that stuff, then I'm not going to have time to give you some value in this, hour-long session. Every little cell of my body wanted to say, no, you can't give me that much. You can't give me all of the focus for the whole time. That is not okay. I can't absorb that much. That won't be okay. But for whatever reason, I was able to shut up that little bit of an inner critic and say, look, just receive, woman. And I did, and the insights that I got from that mastermind have taken my level of thinking at kind of like this level, up to this level, like dramatically in terms of the impact and the growth possibility inside of what we can achieve, the number of people that we can impact with one of many. It was amazing. And it was only because I allowed myself to, in that case, not ask, but when it was offered, say yes, rather than come from Marta and no, it's got to be fair and equitable and all of that. Does that make sense, ladies? And then the other big thing that I've noticed this week is my daughter, Rose. And Rose just keeps asking. Even when you say no, she keeps asking. This morning, so I've got my back is sore at the moment, and I haven't been lifting Rosie for a good few months actually. And this morning she was on the bed, and we were going we have a shower together in the mornings. But because she was tired and hungry and hadn't eaten anything in the morning since she'd woken up, she was sitting on the bed. I don't want to walk. You come and walk. Come and carry me. I'm like, Rosie, I can't carry you. Please come and carry me. I can't carry you, Rosie. Come and carry me. I'm not going to come if you don't carry me. And she's relentless like that. Whatever it is that she wants, it just happens over and over and over and over again. And I would say that probably 8 times out of 10, me and Greg and James eventually just give her what she wants, because she is so committed and so persistent to getting what she wants that it is very difficult to kind of set boundaries. And that's exactly right, Tracy. She says the tenacity of little ones, we could learn from that. But we don't, right? We might ask, if we do get around to asking, we just kind of ask nicely once, or not at all, right? So there's a huge, powerful kind of week that I've had around asking, and it caused me to think, well, we need to get better at this. So let's start at the beginning. Why don't we ask? Why don't we ask? Why don't you ask? Why don't you ask? Why don't you ask for what you need? Why don't you ask for help? Let's start with that conversation. So what gets in the way of us asking? So Karen's already said, I needed some support, but I didn't want to open up the conversation because he was stressed and busy. So one of the things is we let other people's emotions, right? Other people's feelings get in the way of what's going on for us. Kathy says, well, I asked for help, but then they didn't. So let's talk about that at the other end, following the follow-through side. That's good. Guilt. So Bex has said, yep, the guilt is a big part of it. This is really interesting. Liz says, when I'm having a difficult time, I don't know what I need. Or people offer help and I can't figure out what to ask for. Yes, that's another big one, right? So let's talk about these things that stop us. Well, actually, let's start with this one. First of all, I don't even know what I need. And I can relate to that because that's exactly where I was prior to the big breakdown conversation that I had with Greg last week. I knew things were rough and there were a few things, over this 6-month period, I haven't been able to meet all of my needs and I've been aware of it. But I wasn't aware of what is the thing that was causing me so much pain. Why was I so off center? And so it wasn't until I started talking to Greg just about the fact that I was having a difficult time. It was in the conversation really with him that I identified specifically what it was that would make the difference. So I guess that's the first thing. When you're having a difficult time and you don't know what you need, the first place to go is ask for someone to talk to, right? Ask. And Liz, I know you're in the Living the Change program. I'm pretty sure I've seen you in the Hearth. And for all of us who are involved in these programs, a simple post in a community like ours saying, I'm having a difficult time. I can't even figure out what I need just now. I could really use someone just to talk it out with, right? And then jump on the phone to somebody. Or if you're having one-on-one coaching with us as part of your Lead the Change or your Living program, you could jump on a call with the coach and talk it through with them. They are gifted in helping you to identify what is the need that you're not having met. So that becomes the first piece. If you're not okay, what is it that you need? Well, if you don't know, the first thing to ask for is someone to talk to help you identify what it is that you need. Now then, and that doesn't have to be the person who's tired and stressed, right? We can all find somebody, and I say we can all find somebody because you're part of the One of Many community, and I know that the One of Many community is full of these somebodies who, yes, have got some stuff going on, but I see in the Lead the Change community every single week someone having a difficult time and reaching out for help and having women come to the party. I see it in the Hearth as well, people brave enough to say, this is what's going on for me, and having loads of help. So don't be afraid to take it one step further and say, can we get this offline, off Facebook, and into a real life conversation so I can talk it out with somebody, right? That is a key and critical step. But it could just be a post in the group, absolutely. So that's the first piece. Ask for the help to identify what it is that you then really need to ask for. And then you'll probably notice that there's a need that you might need met if it's in the case of getting you to okay, or if it's in the case of growing your business or furthering your career or hitting your health and vitality goals. It might be there's actually a piece of information missing or there's a perspective missing. So advice or counsel is what you need. It could be any number of things that you need that you can then just ask for, right? So that's the key piece, right? Then, okay, if the person you need to ask is stressed and busy, I would always say, ask anyway, especially if that person is your partner, because if they're stressed and busy and you're not okay, your not okayness is stressing them out. That was the thing I think I overlooked probably last week with Greg. My not okayness was rubbing off on him and the kids, and nobody was doing particularly well. So in speaking to him about it, it opened up. It opened up a whole bunch. So if you're in that situation where it's someone that you have to ask that is stressed and busy, if you're not okay, your not okayness is probably adding to the stress. Very uncommonly, it wouldn't be. So framing it up and saying, look, I know you're stressed and busy, and I want to talk about how you are too, but can we talk about how I am? Because I need to ask you something so that I can not be a contributor to your stress, yeah? So I think claiming it and then having the conversation is important. And I'm not promising that the conversations would be easy, right? Certainly the conversation with Greg and I last week was sticky and icky, and we both took defensive positions at times, and then we would open up and relax back into being on the same side, and then it'd be, we're at each other and defensive again. And, like this is what happens, especially with those that we love and that are nearest and dearest. And sometimes that can also be the same with a boss or with employees and so on. So be aware that these dynamics happen, but it doesn't mean that you shouldn't do it. It just means that everybody needs to keep their eye on the fact that we're looking to get back to a collaborative kind of, relationship, if you like. So I think having that, in this day and age, at this time, with this amount of global stress, waiting for a time to talk about something where everyone's okay is not going to really happen. Now, if it's a situation where you're okay, but where you're at okay and you just need some wisdom or some insight or some help in your growing your business or your career or, creating a new workout regime or whatever it might be, then in that case, then you want to kind of look at, well, who can support you that's not stressed and busy? That would be another way to look at it, because time might be a little less critical. And asking beyond your comfort zone, asking somebody that might be outside your comfort zone if you just don't know them. That can be a big part of that, right? Oh, that's lovely. Alison says, I'm incredibly lucky that I don't have issues having time away because my partner and I don't live together. So I've got my own space in my house at least 2 days a week. That's lovely. Yes. Let's see. Yeah, Caroline says, I don't ask my husband for help because he's already exhausted. Yeah, and I would put forward, are you too? Do you know? Like, that's what we have to be cautious of, right? We have to be really, really cautious of that. Caroline says, I don't ask because I don't believe I deserve it. Overexpressed mother. Well, we have to put an end to that, right? Yes, and this is a big one, right? Look at all of these. I think it's a weakness, coming across as needy. Let's add, yes, so here's another one. Coming across as needy is a reason we don't know, we don't ask, right? So we have to go... Well, first of all, let's put it this way. If you're asking someone who's in their masculine energy, if you have needs, the masculine energy loves to provide for needs. I remember once saying to an old boyfriend of mine, he said, I just want you to need me, Joe. And I said, I don't want to be needy. And I don't need you for anything. And I just watched him physically shrivel in front of me as soon as I said that. It was my first lesson in the fact, masculine energy needs to be needed. So come across as needy, right? Have needs. We all have needs. And especially if masculine energy can provide for those needs, if someone, and that doesn't have to be a male, it could absolutely be a female, but if someone needs you, we all benefit from being needed, right? As a mother, I love to be needed. Do I like it all of the time? No. But do I love it when, oh God, that's going to sound really awful. Do I love it when my kids hurt themselves? Yes. I don't love it when my kids hurt themselves, but there is that piece that when your kids hurt themselves and you're the one they need, that it's a blessing. It's such a privileged position to be in, right? That they're the one that you need, right? We like to be needed. We like it, I like it when someone cooks a meal for my family and they don't do it great because my husband needs my cooking, right? And he loves it and he appreciates it. And it makes me feel, validated and feel good to know that I can provide for those needs. So why would we think that having needs that other people can help us to fulfill would be in any way, shape or form needy or like kind of neediness in a yucky sort of way, right? There's a complete difference between someone who shows up, I was going to say in the power types. Last week I showed up in a complete blubbering mess, but shows up authentically, right? Let's say authentically, and says, this is what's going on for me and I really need this in order to get to okay, or I really need this in order to achieve X, Y, and Z. If you're coming from a centered and authentic place, and centered and authentic can look like a blubbing mess, that is, if that's your authentic place, that's okay, then I believe that we can I believe we can trust humanity. I believe we can trust in the humanity of the other. And if they are so out of tune of what's got, of the relationship, that they can't be there in your time of need, then that's okay. That's just a moment, right? It doesn't have to mean anything forever. It's just a moment. They're significantly tough. I mean, I've had that where, my sister's reached out and she's had a really tough time, but I haven't been able to help her at that time. And I've had to say, you know what, babe, I hear you. Right now in this moment, I can't help. I just can't be there. I can't be that person for you. So I think we need to be the experts in our own needs and be willing to ask. And then the people that we're with need to be able to learn their lessons around where their boundaries are and to be able to say yes or no. If it becomes codependent and you're, they're fulfilling your needs all of the time, then yeah, okay, maybe you need to do something about that. But where we don't ask because we don't want to seem to be needy or don't want to be seen as a weakness, we need to let this go. We need to let this stuff go, right? We absolutely need to let this stuff go. Now, then this piece here, I don't believe I deserve it. We absolutely all deserve it, and not just deserve it, but our receiving of help, our receiving of support is a gift to the other, as we've just said. So we all, would you say that about, okay, think about all of the people that you know and love. Think about your close friends. Think about your partner. Think about, and I'm talking about people that you know and love, right? Think about them, your children if you have them, your work colleagues. Would you say about any of them, they don't deserve help? They don't deserve to be supported? They don't deserve to have their needs met? They don't deserve good advice from someone who's been there before? Would you say that about any of them? You wouldn't, would you? Let me know with a little thumbs up and some hearts or a comment there in the comment section. You wouldn't think that about the people that you know and love. You just show up and you provide. You show up and you give. You do that. If this is a challenge for you and you are, as Caroline says, overexpressed mother, and so you're in martyrdom, then spending some time in lover to look after your own needs, which will also help you to bring up your queen energy so that you can ask for what you need and provide that back, provide the gift of needing from them back, I think is a critical kind of piece, right? It's an absolutely critical piece. So, yes. Great. Okay, so let's have a look at this. This is lovely. Karen says, you're so right. The other day, my partner, kept asking me what was wrong, but I didn't know how to answer. So I didn't, even though I obviously needed to. That's it, Karen. So if he's saying what's wrong, then the thing to say is, do you know, I'm not really sure, but could we sit down and could you just listen while I try and talk it out on the outside? Because I'm not really even sure. And the first 5 things I say might not be it. So let's just talk it out and know that in maybe half an hour we can get to what's actually wrong. Because I'm so muddled in my head at the moment, I don't even know. What I need right now is someone to listen because I don't know what even is wrong. Little conversation pieces like that we can link into us can really help. So Remy says, I'm usually the person that people come to for help and advice. Previous experiences have taught me that when I do ask for help, it's not forthcoming. My family particularly seemed to struggle with the swapping of roles, so I stopped asking. Well, there's 2 pieces to this, right, Remy? There's 2 pieces. One is all of us grow and all of us evolve. If you asked me when my sister Kath was 25 years old, whether she could be counted on to provide for my needs, that I could count on her as a soft space to land, as someone to talk to about how I was feeling, I would have said no, she wasn't. But if you ask me now about 40-year-old Kath, I know that no matter what's going on, I can call her up, and as long as I say the magic words, and the magic words are, sis, I need you to be there for me. I need you to listen to me, because she's the one who talks, and I'm usually the one who listens, right? In just the same way as it sounds like you are. As long as I say, I need you to listen, I'm having a tough time, She does it. Does she always do it perfectly? No, she doesn't. But she knows she's learned so much about herself and about our relationship because we've spoken about it so much. We love each other. We're so there for each other. But it doesn't necessarily mean that it's easy for her. So those are the magic words, and she can be there. So I think family do grow and family do evolve. Not all of them, though. And it might also be, in different contexts. So there's that piece. But then it is then who are you asking, right? Yeah, maybe you're in a family of people that are not great at being there for you. Do you know, my family, I know and love that I absolutely love them. My mum spends a lot of her time being there for my youngest sister because they live really close, and my younger sister needs that, and my younger sister spends most of her time being there for her son. And that means, mum's not necessarily there for me as much as I need someone to be there for me. Not that she wouldn't want to be, it's just with time zones and all the rest of it. In my entire family, Kath is the person I can count on, and even then I have to say the magic words. So what do you do then? Well, you expand where you go. You expand where you go to get that support, right? You expand it. So making sure that you've got a couple of really good friends, and I'm terrible at keeping friends, so I tend to just have at any one time a couple of really close people that are my person in that chapter that are the people that I go to, right? And that makes all of the difference in the world. So if you've got people to go and ask for help that are forthcoming, and if you don't have them, you need to change your network. So getting involved in communities like ours where you can develop relationships with women who also are learning to ask for help from each other. And we're all learning in this kind of collaborative way together. It can make a real difference. Caroline says, I can relate to this, Remy. Yeah, absolutely. And that's right. Alison says, yeah, people are often so glad to help if asked. It's so, so true. Sheila says, I'm getting better at asking help since I've been on Living the Change. Yay. If you're new to our community, Living the Change is our online coaching program. We've got 3 different levels of support that you can have as part of that. But she says, it's amazing how pleased people are to help me instead of me helping them. So it's a practice to get into, right? It's an absolute practice to get into. Wonderful. Jean says, my partner doesn't fully listen. He jumps straight to how he can solve whatever it is. He needs to do, not listen. That's very common in masculine energy, Jean, and I know you're also in Living the Change. So go check out Communicating with the Masculine. It's a class that's in Module 6. And it's very common. Masculine energy is driven to win, right, and not lose. So communication is about sorting for problems to fix. So a really helpful thing that you can do for your masculine energy partner if you're using them to work out what's wrong, and again, I'll come back to that because I don't necessarily recommend that that's the best thing to do, but if you're using them, as I did with Greg, to work out what's wrong, you have to frame it up and say, I'm a mess, I don't really know what's wrong, but let me just start somewhere in the middle. Can you just listen and hear me out? I don't need you to fix it yet, but the first solution we have to find is actually what's really wrong. Okay, so you could set him up. So the first thing we need to solve is what's wrong with me? Why am I a mess? And then he can listen out and help you to sort through your stuff, right? That he knows what the outcome is to identify the challenge. Because if you're throwing out potential things and they start solving but they're not the thing yet, then that's a challenge. Better is to not go to your masculine energy partners to solve that stuff. Go to your girlfriends, right? Your girlfriends are much better because that's how a lot of us process in that same way. I would call up my mate Sarah. I would call up Kath. I'd call up a friend and go, blah. Here's where I'm feeling. These are all of the things I'm feeling and I don't really know what I need. And by the end of that conversation, we get super clear on what is required in that space. So hopefully that helps you, Jane. You could go to your girlfriends to work out, to get listened to. I mean, look, I love Greg, but frankly, I do not go to Greg for emotional connection and listening when I'm not feeling okay. It's not his strong suit. His strong suit is helping me to solve it. His strong suit is providing for my needs. His strong suit is like looking after us as a family. But, wanting deep emotional connection while talking about, inner turmoil. He'll be there, he'll do it, but it's not the same as if I call up a girlfriend and do it, right? It's a very different experience. So I know what I can count on Greg for, and I know then what I can count on my girlfriends and so my coach and, many other places for. Yeah. Karen says, my husband's similar. He likes to fix things for everyone and solve their problems and can jump ahead without listening. So use the magic words. Yes, exactly. That's exactly right. There's a lovely big share there from Kathy, which I'll have a look at. Julie says, I don't have an alternative. If you don't have an alternative, then you need to broaden your network, my love. You need to broaden your network. So one of the first things you could do is come into the B1 community, or if you're in Living the Change, go into the Hearth and say, you know what? I've just identified I don't have anyone to talk to when I'm not brilliant. I don't have, and by the way, Julie, you're not alone. So May last year, I did some coaching because I needed to do some up-leveling. So I went and invested in an awesome coach, Xander Grashow, over in New York. And I went over and did a 2-day retreat with him. And one of the things we were doing towards the end is we had a look at my support network. And he didn't use this term, but I'll use it because it's the one we used. And that was, he said, so whose hearth are you at? Who is there for you no matter what? Unconditionally, through thick and thin, doesn't matter what's going on for them, they're there for you, right? And we would define that as the people that are either at your hearth, you're there for them no matter what, or whose hearth you are at. And as I looked at it, there was one person, and it was my husband. He was the only one. And he said, that's a bit of pressure on him, isn't it? I'm like, yes. And then he coached me through. He said, well, make a list of friends who might be there for you. And Sarah Price, who is now, one of, if not my best friend, was the first person on that list. And he said, okay, go ask Sarah to be that person for you. And I'm like, that's a bit weird. And he said, come on, she knows all of your stuff. Just ask her in your terms. And so I did. I called her up and I said, hey, can I be at your hearth? And she said, oh my God, of course you can be at my hearth. So in our community, if you identify you're at nobody's hearth, we have a massive community of women that also are probably at nobody's hearth, except for the person they might happen to be married to, or a sister who's having a really tough time themselves right now. And we all want a little posse of women. And I know in Lead the Change, one of the most profound gifts that women always take away from Lead the Change is an expanded hearth, an expanded group of women that they know they can go to no matter what's going on. Like Helen Connolly, who is now one of our in-house coaches, but after Lead the Change, she was most unfortunately diagnosed with breast cancer. But as she looked at it and she realized what she needed to do, she realized she needed a posse of women who could be there for her and would expect nothing back for the period of her cancer. And she reached out to her circle, her Lead the Change circle, and said, could you be there for me while I do this? And they did. Most of the women in this community are experiencing the same thing that we are all experiencing, right? So therefore, if that's what you need, be brave and ask. And if that's the ask, right, come into the community and say, Joe's Lunch and Learn today, she was saying, who do you talk to? Who's the place to talk things out with? I don't have anyone. I wonder if anyone would be brave enough to jump on the phone and see if we hit it off. It's going to be a bit like speed dating, right? It might be a little bit like dating where you kind of you get along, but you don't kind of click. But sometimes, and many times, you might get on the phone and go, oh my God, where have you been all my life? Let's talk to each other. Let's say once a week, Thursday nights, it's our night, 7 p.m. we'll call. Let's call each other. But how many of you need this? Yeah, Karen's saying that's why I joined Living the Change, because female friends are currently missing in my life. I think that's exactly what I need. We could all do with more female friends, right? So this, we started talking today about asking and the gift of asking, but it seems that this is the first thing we need to do. Most of us need to kind of figure out, we need someone to help us work out at the moment. What do we need to ask for? This is beautiful. Let's have a look at this one. This is a biggie here. Oh my God, Kathy, I really love your RBG Facebook profile picture there. That's beautiful. Oh, what an amazing woman. Anyway, Kathy says, I almost believe that loneliness is less about not feeling loved than it is being able to show love and feeling like you make a difference in someone's life. I agree, 100%. As a single mum of young adults, they don't need much from me. Plus, I try not to overmother them. Also, not having close family and not having a partner, sometimes I feel like I'm begging to show love. It feels locked up in me, and sometimes I want to explode from the buildup of love I can't express. It's even hard to have people accept your volunteer help. People can be very suspicious about motives when you just want to give something to someone. Even using my height to reach something on the top shelf for a fellow customer at the store is an important release. Kathy, thank you. Thank you for so beautifully showing those who are still in a overexpressed martyr domain that there are others in the world who desperately want to give, want to love, want to be of support, want to be that gentle space to land, want to be the person who puts their arm around someone at the bus stop who seems to be upset. Well, obviously, we can't do that with social distancing, but be their listening ear. Wants to be the person in the hearth who says, I'm here for you. Come on. What do you need? Kathy is there, and she's not alone. Who else knows that? Who else knows that they are desperate to have somebody deeply that they can love and support because they're not having that side of them expressed at the moment, right? Yeah, Karen Levitt is saying, I need someone at my hearth too, right? Absolutely, absolutely. Julie says, let's try this. Oh yes, absolutely, let's try this. So ladies, we've covered quite a bit today. We've covered why we don't ask. We've covered that usually when we do, nobody dies. That's a really important piece. We've covered the fact that sometimes we don't even know what to ask for. And when you don't know what to ask for, then what you need to ask for is someone to listen so you can figure out why you're stuck or what you need. And we've figured out that, hey, surprise, surprise, we're in an amazing community right here in One of Many, full of women who want to give and receive love, full of women who want to give and receive emotional connection, full of women who want to be here for someone so that someone's there for them, right? We are that community. So for the love of all things holy, use it. Use it, whether it is the free B1 community that you're a part of, whether it's the Hearth, whether you're a Lead the Change graduate and you haven't reached out to your Circle Sisters for a while. Let's do this, yes? And Camilla says, I need to understand what my needs are before asking for help. Come on into the community, do our Living the Change program when we open enrollments next time around, or call the office for some support. We've got programs we can help you identify your needs, or talk it out with a sister, right? Absolutely. Ladies, if this has been helpful for you and you know that there's someone in your life who could really benefit, it would always benefit them to watch this video. So please do feel free. You can just hit share this to your own page, right? Share this to your Facebook page if it's been useful today. Maybe tag a friend in the comments section if you think there's someone you know for a that could benefit from it today. They will thank you. They will thank you. And even if it's not for them, even if they listen to the crazy Australian in the animal print and go, why'd you send me that? And you say, no, it's not for everybody. I just thought you might be interested. No worries if it's not, right? But we all need a little help. And so please, you know people who need a little help. Please share this with anyone you think that could be supported by that. Lots of love, my darlings. Have a fabulous week, and I will see you this time next week, Lunch and Learn Live. If you are not yet in the B1 Global Community, come on in there. Just look for it on Facebook, B1 Global Community, and come on in. We'll see you soon, ladies. Bye.